Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Okay, off to business immediately, and our guest this morning is Group Captain retired Sadiq Garba Shehu, former spokesman of the Nigeria Air Force, defense security and counterterrorism expert. He's a former spokesman, as I said at the top, of the Nigeria Air Force. Okay, we're not going to, well, all of that might come into play, but a fine morning to you, Group C. Okay, we were speaking just a moment ago. Good morning, Group Captain Shehu. Okay, well, we'll get the group captain back very, very shortly. I understand it's a network thing. But as most people will be aware, today is the deadline that was given to senior officers in the military to voluntarily retire. The signal was sent last week, and today is the actual deadline by which time they were expected to have complied. Most people will know that actually this is the way it goes in the Army. Service chiefs have been appointed. You can't really have people that are senior to them in service, in rank. And so those people have been asked to, voluntarily retire. In fact, even before today, before we're talking about it today, there were some news items about packages that were being put out for some. But we'll be talking with the group captain about this phenomenon. It's, I suppose, I don't know, it might be that way in life, but in particular with the military, and I heard Group Captain Shehu speak about it one time. He was talking about the military pyramid. And, at the very top there, you can't have anybody below those ranks of all the service chiefs who actually might be senior to them in the NDA course or even by rank or that kind of thing. As you know, yes, a general is a general, but then a general isn't a general. Some generals would have been generals, and then maybe 2-3 years later, some other person will become a general as well. I understand that within the military, they informally take account of such things, and they matter when the time comes. In the National Assembly, we hear about ranking senators, even though a senator is a senator. But we still hear about ranking senators. So as soon as we can get Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu back, we'll talk about this issue. And if we can't, maybe we can talk about it among ourselves, pending when we get the Group Captain back on. So this, I've heard it said, and I don't know what your thoughts are on the matter, I've heard it said that, well, Nigeria with about 300 odd such senior ranking officers, it makes the job of the president, whoever is the new president, as in this case, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it makes the job a bit the opposite of, well, a bit unwieldy. So if you have 300 generals to choose from, I'm talking about all of the services now, even though people tend to think of Army, a general in terms of the Army, but there are equivalent ranks. So all of those people have to go. And when you have about 300 of them, then it's tough. So this is a military convention, but it also, that might be worrying to some. Someone has called in, King of Boys. Did I get that right? Good morning to you.
Yes.
Okay, good morning in Ore.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. What did you want to say about the topic?
The topic online about the military order generals to retire said deadline.
Today is the deadline. The 3rd.
Today
By now,
deadline.
everybody is supposed to have put in their resignation.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Welcome development.
Okay.
All what was set down for them should be put in place and make sure they enjoy their retirement benefits.
Okay.
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
Yes, please. Carry on, please. We are hearing you.
their retirement, according to what we see at this military orders generals to retire, set deadline. The deadline is today or tomorrow.
Today, the 3rd of June.
All the generals retired or the military officers retired should be given their benefits on time. It should not allow them to just go like that without making sure they are all settled.
Okay, indeed.
That is my take on it.
All right, then. Thank you very much, King of Boys, for calling in with that from Ore. But I would have taken that as a given. I mean, I would have taken that as a given now that the order has been made. Of course, what you just said, I think it goes without saying that the right thing will be done. But they have, you know, concomitant to this particular point, I've been hearing commentaries that perhaps Nigeria has too many of those, perhaps Nigeria has too many of those high-ranking, those ranks, those kind of ranks. But I'm happy to say that Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, retired, is back online now. Well, once more, good morning to you, Group Captain.
Good morning, Yuri.
Okay, then. Okay, great. Yeah, we actually, because of the technical glitch, we actually started and we didn't get, right now, the much that we have been able to get was a caller who called in, and his concern was that those military officers that have to retire should be settled with their dues, and that that shouldn't be longer. So I was just saying that, oh, I take that for granted. Now, but the question, maybe the way to start on this particular conversation with you, Group Captain, is I think you've made the point elsewhere that, look, having about 3,000 generals rank across the services to choose from.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I didn't get a question, please. You
okay, okay. Let me just let me try again. I think I've heard you say elsewhere that it's a problem in itself having about 3,000 officers of that rank. That is, ranks that are, you know, of that rank to choose from when you want to make appointments such as the president has made now. And now that he's made the appointments that he wanted to make, it has, you know, repercussions. So everybody below, everybody above them in rank must, you know, proceed on retirement. That point you made, how did we come to appoint so many generals across the services that brought up the comment that I'm referencing, your comment that that I'm referencing now, that it's not the problem of the president, but the system. We're not fighting a war. I don't know how you see it. Would you like to comment on that generally? Oh, okay. I can see that there's still a problem, but Bishop, did I get that right? Is it Bishop Best? Is Bishop Best? Okay, Bishop Best from Port Harcourt. Good morning to you, Bishop.
Yes. Yeah, good morning.
Please go ahead now.
Yeah, good morning. We are talking about the compulsory retirement of the service chiefs.
Yes. The request has been made. The request has been made according to the wordings of the signal that was put out. You know, this advice, that's another, you know, technical, the advice has been sent out. Yes, it has been sent out, yes.
So I think it's the best call for the president. It's his best call for the military. Because I think we're talking about the level of corruption that's eating up Nigeria in all sectors. And if we must talk about corruption, we must talk about from the military down to all prostators. Now, to me, my take is that from the generals that have been called for retirement, to go for compulsory retirement or whatever, it should call from the from the major, from majors, down to the generals, so that opportunity will be given to the new ones, those coming up. Opportunity will be given to them, and they'll be properly checkmated. That is what I think.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much, Bishop, for contributing that view. Our guest is Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, retired, former spokesperson of the spokesman of the Nigeria Air Force. He's also a defense security and counterterrorism expert. But today we want to sort of lean on his knowledge of the system. And the group captain has made the point earlier. Unfortunately, we're not really contacting as well as we would have wanted, so he can't hear us now. But he has made the point that having up to 3,000 odd, officers of that rank to deal with when a thing like this happens is a problem in its own. And as soon as I can get him back, get the retired group captain back, I'll ask him to expatiate a bit on that. How did we arrive at the situation where we have all these people that have, brought about the comments that the bishop has just made? That well, you have to make room. The bishop did also add something about corruption in the society, but I don't think that factors in. I don't know, because I think it's a tradition in the military that you can't have. We know it. We know it maybe subconsciously, but we know it when back in those heady days of military regimes, if anybody came on, nobody was allowed to be his superior in rank, and so those people had to, bow out. So we have a similar kind of a situation. We've been talking about the pyramid of command. As soon as we get back, Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, we'll continue with that. But in the meantime, Mr. George has called in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Yori, retirement in the military is a normal phenomenon. I don't even know why it should be making a headline. If you are a major general or those in that cadre of the military, you should know that you are in the evening of your career. And they know that it is a practice when somebody who is below you in rank is made to be the superior officer or the head, the rest under him or above him have to leave. So it's not new. I don't know, we shouldn't make news out of it. What I am concerned about, Uncle Yori, is about the military strategy in our country. If you look at our security situation now, kidnapping has become a big business in this country. And I don't know why it is so. There is this corruption in the military that has made it impossible for our security personnel to tackle kidnapping. We have heard of stories where even senior officers in the military are conniving with kidnapping kingpins for money. This cannot allow security of life and property in our country. That's where I would expect the president and his new team to concentrate on.
Okay.
Let the police. The military is for external aggression normally. The police should be brought up, should be the one to take care of internal security. Let the police equipped. I heard the new Inspector General of Police. He was feeling so encouraged and ready to work. Equip that type of person. Let him recruit those who can work with him and give them the task. They will do it. This is where I think we should be addressing.
All right, then.
It's not about somebody going on retirement. When you're at work, you know that one day you're going to retire. What do you want to become after you have already become a major general in the army? It's only one person that can be the head of the military or that arm of the military at a time. That's my view.
Thank you very much, Mr. George, for calling in. In fact, your point also, your contribution also echoes the call we got before yours. That was Bishop, who actually had also referenced corruption as an issue. And I had thought that corruption didn't have very much to do with it. it was more the tradition. But then, you know, there you go. You've also brought up that whole matter in your point of view. Okay, Group Captain Sadiq Garbashi, who retired, can you hear me now? Is it going to be one of those kind of Mondays? Group Captain Garba Shehu retired. And so as not to confuse it in the minds of some, let me add Sadiq at the beginning. Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu retired. Can you hear us? Okay, not so. Yes, Mr. George, that caller was making the point that this is the end of any service. Okay, Chidi in Kafanchan. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you so very much. While we await the arrival of your guest,
he's here already. He's technical.
It's all right. Now, concerning the military arrangements, I would want a situation where their disengagement follows with due practice, particularly the generals. As Mr. George has said earlier, all that George said are in line. But I would equally add that let the armed forces be properly shaped, fixed in such a way that they can be able to stand for external aggression, number one, and to contain the internal security challenges that our country are currently facing. Not where so many of these people who feel they are advantaged will be engaged in businesses where they are not supposed to be doing businesses. Particularly what we hear that is taking place in Maiduguri or Reno State and so many other places. Let the ethical practice of the military be properly implemented. Thank you very much, and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir. In any case, as soon as we get, our guest, Group Captain Sadiq Garbashi, who retired back, he will be speaking about the military aspects of this conversation. But one imagines that all of these generals that have to retire now because of the convention, I suppose they'll be on something called the reserve list. All of these people are still going to be useful to the country. But I take the point that's been made severally now, even though we haven't got halfway through the program. The point has been made severally that all these senior officers that have had to retire, voluntarily retire, today is the deadline, and some have actually begun the process before today. That all of these people, they're not exactly geriatrics, so they still have a lot of productive life left in them. And in that connection, people have spoken about their benefits. Just let their benefits be paid to them. And we've been hearing about this. I would just imagine that it's not possible for the benefits not to be taken very, very seriously. President Tinubu, that's the kind of person that he is. And I don't even think it depends on him. It's just about the process and letting the process work. We've even been hearing that some senior officers, there have been publications, one doesn't know whether to, how far one can believe it, but there have been, releases, stories, articles on quite decent packages that have been made to some of those people that have been retired. But Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu retired. I understand that I can now speak with you more smoothly, having devised...
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, okay. So it's about time that you came in with your expertise. The first question I asked almost half an hour ago was, what went wrong? Well, maybe that's not the way to phrase it. How, and I think this is better, how did we arrive at having the figure of somewhere around 3,000 generals, Nigeria being the nation that it is? How did we arrive at having about 3,000 generals, which you've said in a different interview, makes the life of anybody needing to choose from among them very, very difficult? How did we arrive at that? We have a bloated army.
Thank you very much, Yori. But first, please, let's put this in proper perspective.
Okay.
If you listen to that interview, not the many reported versions that I saw, the number I stand by is about 1,300 generals.
Okay.
And when I say generals, when you use general in the general sense, it means you are talking of brigadiers, major generals, lieutenant generals, and even four-star generals, that's a full general if you have them.
Okay.
Please let's get that clear. I said, by my estimation, Nigeria now has about 1,300 generals. But with respect to the people that are likely, or I could say have gone, depending on your sources, or retirement, we are talking of the major generals who are senior to 39 regular corps. And the number that might be affected is 133. The other major generals and brigadiers that will remain, they are junior to them, so I think their place is secured. Now, it's good to be particular because I've had this, it's not 3,000. 1,300 is the number of generals, which again, is still too much. And then the people going for retirement potentially are 133. Now, having cleared that, how did we arrive at that? To be honest with you, there is a combination of factors that make us to arrive here. First, I will stand that the number we have for a size of military that is about 223,000, according to the figures that were given by the last Minister of Defense, to have 1,300 generals across the three services is just too much. But how did we get to that number?
Yes.
This is as a result of over many years. The promotion process has not been adequately supervised by the ministry, or I could say Minister of Defense. In a democratic setting, there's what we call democratic control of the armed forces. There are two theories to that. When things concern purely operational matters, the civilian political masters should leave the military to take charge. Like who is the commander of here, who is the commander of that, the political masters may not intervene. However, how the military is shaped, how they are funded, what kind of war they fight, that one is completely the political master that will decide that. What do we have? Over the years, the issue of promotion has been left to the exclusive, preserve of the services. Being that is the case, the Ministry of Defense, even though there is supposed to be a layer that will filter, what I find in my research is that filter has not been working. Because the Minister of Defense is supposed to look at the government interest. He has a larger strategic view. While the military services will only look at things purely based on military expediency, the minister, on the other hand, is supposed to look at what can our economy carry, what is our international relations, what kind of neighbors, and from that, he will be able to shape and advise the president on the number of troops. And when you say number of troops, it means down the line, from the private or to the general, how many do we need? For every promotion cycle, the minister is supposed to intervene, whether this number, in fact, ideally, he's even supposed to give them number. Army, give me this number of major generals. Air Force, give me this number of air vice marshal. Navy, give me this number of rear admirals. But honest, that is not what is happening. The services carry their list, whether it is too big or it is too small for the economy or for operational reasons, and then the minister just stamps it, and this is where we arrive. Why do I say this? In all military doctrines, the military institution is supposed to be a pyramid. And the pyramid starts working right from how many cadets are you going to produce in NDA to become second lieutenant. Because you have a number that you want to arrive in, so you have to work backward. From NDA, cadets graduate, they come with their one PIP, that is second lieutenant. Promotion to second lieutenant is almost automatic, unless somebody has serious disciplinary case or in case of death, which might happen. But ideally, all the people that came out as first lieutenant will become second lieutenant. But from second lieutenant to captain, you start minding how that pyramid is maintained. It is a selection process based on so many factors: exam, personal qualities, comportment, discipline. By the time this set of officers, whichever set comes of AJ, they are moving from lieutenant to captain, about 20% will drop. You will have like 80% of the original set. When they move from captain to major, you will be thinking of around 70% of them will survive. By the time you go to lieutenant colonel, you are taking to 60. By the time you go to colonel, you are taking about 50%, ideally, in order to maintain that pyramid. 50% are remaining. Now, the greatest filter should come from colonel to brigadier, where you should be looking for maximum 5%, or if bring 10%. But from brigadier to major general, which ideally supposed to be the pinnacle of somebody's career, you should be taking off maximum of 3% of any set that passed out of NDA. It should be that number. But over the years, with due respect, due to lack of putting eye on that promotion, we've had courses that have produced 44% of them becoming major general. So even if you stop at that course, are going to have a problem with that course. You are going to have a problem because you didn't mind that distance. And apart from wastage of money, you may not find place where to put this officer because you have more than the establishment. So what happens again? The next wastage is that you will be trying to create unnecessary units so that you can insert those officers. But in the long run, we have to know the issue of defense or security is also an issue of economy. There is, in defense planning, what we call the guns versus butter debate. The guns means how much am I going to spend on security? How much am I going to reserve for the other butter, like roads, like health? That's what is termed as butter. So for the political mind, from the Minister of Defense up to the President, he has the whole picture. Like I said, the military man might just be involved that I want this number. He may not factor in the economics. You have to think why you are putting these people in the barracks. So to be honest with you, because of that lack of, putting on eye, that is how we arrive at the number, which everybody will agree that for now we have too many officers. Now,
sorry, can I just interrupt there because I have to go on a break, but thank you very much for putting things in perspective. The 3,000 figure that is being quoted as being affected, you said that your research indicates a number much lower than that, in fact less than half of that, at around 1,300. So stay with us, please. Yes. We'll be right back.
Number of generals, not all of them going. Number of generals we have.
Okay, generals that we have, but not all of them going.
Yes.
Okay. I'll be right back and we'll continue this conversation, sir. I'll be right back. Stay with us, please, while we come back from this break.
Politics is defined as getting what, where, when, and how. But in the mix, many things come to play to shape the political fortune of any country.
Honorable Minister, that's how you misinform the public.
From the political actors to the electorate, campaign to voting, from debates to policy decisions, big events happen to engage us in constant conversation.
That's what we're looking for. Not some people who are talking about ethnicity. No.
Who is on your mind?
Don't worry.
Join me every day on Politics Tonight, where we dissect issues that shape our political destiny. Politics Tonight, weekdays on TVC News.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
Okay, welcome back, and our guest is Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, retired. He's a former spokesman of the Nigeria Air Force, and we're speaking about the retirement of a large number of military officers. In fact, the way it is put technically is that all graduates of the NDA, Nigeria Defense Academy, regular courses, 38, 37, 36, and below are affected by this. So, Group Captain, you're with us. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, but please raise your voice a bit, not so much.
Okay. I was saying that this exercise affects the members of the, 38th, 37th, 36th, and below regular courses of the Nigerian Defense Academy in the first instance, right?
There are no 36 regular courses. 36 regular courses, all of them are gone in the last purge. There was a similar purge 2022 when the last set of services were appointed.
Okay.
So those 36 courses and remnants of 36 courses, they were purged in a similar manner. So 36 courses are not affected this time around. What we have are 37 courses and 38 courses. These are the ones that are affected right now.
Okay. And none below that?
Not below that. Not below that. Anyway, yes, technically there are some below that. You see, in the military, we are talking, the most junior service chiefs now is 39 course member. That is the chief of army staff and the chief of air staff. So they are members of 39 regular course. However, it is possible for you to find a 37 regular course or a 38 regular course who has lost promotion along the way. When you lose promotion, you go below to the next course that is below to you. So technically, it's possible to find some people in 36, 37, but who have lost a year or 2 years seniority, but now so they are running seniority with 39 regular course. But in this part, as I understand it, after looking at the list, what the service chiefs did was to look at anybody who entered the military before me. I turned him as my senior. As such, he will not serve, he will go. That is what happened.
Okay. And that is the convention, is it, within the military around the world?
Good. A very good question. Your earlier guest, before I lost, the audio with you, and many others have been putting this problem simply that it is a tradition, it's a culture. With due respect, I would like to slightly, disagree. Yes, military is a profession of seniority. We have this saying among us that once I enter the military before you, I am your senior for life. It doesn't matter if along the way through military snake and ladders, I could lose seniority and go below you, official seniority. But the fact that I entered the military, I will still hold that against, hold that you were my junior because I entered before you. However, the problem we have is that, with due respect, culture and tradition is not law. What does law say about the length of service of an officer? We have what we call the harmonized terms and conditions of service for officers. We still have also for the non-commissioned officers. When the harmonized terms and conditions of service, under which an officer is commissioned, it guarantees him to serve a maximum years of 35 years service, just like civil service. That's what it guarantees him. It also guarantees him, if he rises to the highest rank, to serve up to 60 years of service. I hope you are getting me.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, it gives him that guarantee. But again, within that 35 days of service, there is another second condition. This one, you can find it in the Harmonized Terms and Conditions of Service section 03.10. It specifically talks about, the terms and the length of service for officers. So an officer enters with the understanding all things being equal, he will serve 35 years or 60 years. However, within the ranks again, for every rank from captain, major, lieutenant colonel, there is a maximum age that an officer is allowed to reach. If he doesn't get promotion to the next rank, it means he is out. Now, for the officers who are talking about, people that are major generals, rear admirals, and air vice marshals, what the head code guarantees them is that they will serve up to age of 60. I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Looking at all the people that retired, I know them collectively, but individually, I will put their average age around 55, 56. Ideally, you get to soldier 57. So let me talk the upper limit 57. Even if you take the most senior of them, which is about 57 years, it means under the head course, he has 3 years remaining of his service. He has not also served those 35 years from the time he left the Nigerian Defense Academy. So you see, here we have a clash of what did the book say versus what people are dismissing as it is, I've talked about the issue of tradition or custom of the military. My senior is my senior for life. But that is not what the book contains. The book As of now, this is the lacuna we have to address. They did not address what happens to me when my junior by entry is made service chief. Right now, we have that lacuna. So, with due respect, when this thing first happened last year, when some 70 to 100 also left last year as a result of the appointment of the last service chiefs, I think we slept on the steering. That was the time for the military to understand that there's a big problem here, and it is likely to occur. And feel this lacuna illegal, because with due respect, it is not just enough to say it is tradition. When you say it is tradition, it means the officer affected has the option of either accepting that tradition or not accepting it. More so, because if we check back again, we've had similar incidents like that, but not in this large number, where a service chief still had his seniors that served in the military. I can remember vividly from 2015 or to 2018, during the last, the ultimate set of service chiefs, that is Oloni Shakin, General Buratai, Air Marshal Sadiq, and Iba. During their time when they came in, you know, the line is taken from who is the most junior service chief. As of that time, the most junior service chief was Lieutenant General Buratai, who was of 29 corps. But if I recall vividly, there were members of 28 or 27 regular corps that were serving within the armed forces. Within the armed forces. So you see, there has been a precedent, even when we say there is a tradition. So my point of view is that tradition is there, but tradition makes it optional. Because I can tell you, as a matter of fact, right now there are some of these officers for various reasons, and I don't blame them. There are some who would not mind to remain and serve with these people and complete their 35 years or 60 years of age. They wouldn't mind at all. But military officers are disciplined. They would not like to raise their voice, but I am telling you, I know that for a fact.
Okay.
So the point I'm making, we should shift from the position that it is tradition, it is culture. This thing is likely to occur. This is the second time we're having this large number. It is likely to occur in the next future. So the solution is not just to say and say it is tradition, it is culture, document it. Right now, we do not have a solution. What happens to those officers? That is officially. There is no official position. I hope I'm very clear.
Indeed, you are. So this makes it look. This sounds to me like there is a need for some kind of reform within the military as it relates to these kind of matters, so that things don't get, quote unquote, out of hand, as it would appear that this is now the case.
Exactly. It's a problem that needs solution. Even if you go back to the ones that left in 2022, I can say they are my contemporaries. There are some who feel that the system was not fair to them, because they will show you this is what the terms and conditions of service says. I should serve for 35 years or to a certain age, and I have not reached. But at the same time, I want us to understand something. There is the prerogative of the commander-in-chief.
Okay.
What the section on the Constitution, which talks, I think it's section 18, which talks about the appointment of service. It gives the president to appoint the phrase, whom he deems fit. Who he deems fit. Now, who he deems fit, it means the president is not obliged to ask who is the most senior so that I'll appoint him. It is completely within his, his prerogative to go whether to the middle of the rank or even down, and then pick his service chiefs, which means then we'll come back to talking about this tradition, which is not based on book. So the point is that the military as an institution in their personnel management modem, what are they to bring personnel management practices, they should factor in this fact that the president has the prerogative to pick anybody and find a solution. What if the president, like in this case, picks somebody and that person has seniors? To be honest, it's not enough to tell somebody that it is tradition, it is custom. In fact, if you see the letter, with due respect, the letter written to the people to leave, nobody quoted any provision that you are going under this provision. It made the reference to custom and tradition, discipline and hierarchy, but I will continue to say custom and tradition is not law. On the other hand, other ministries have found, you see, the military is an international, profession. All militaries, they borrow practices from each other. How did other militaries solve this thing, including the U.S. military, the German military? I have conducted a research on this thing.
Okay.
What do they have? They recognize the right of the president to pick anybody, irrespective of seniority. You get to be his service chief. No constitution that I know tied the hand of the president that he must pick, because to avoid this problem, unless if you are going to force the president that he must pick the most senior, he don't obliged to do that. But what did other militaries do? They brought two options. If my junior is made service chief, and I have 2 years or 3 years to either reach that 35 years or 60 years of age, I have two options. What is the option? I could decide on my own to leave. And in that case, what they do is that they will calculate the remaining months or the remaining years of my pay and give me. On the other hand, other militaries, what do? They say, okay, you still have 5 years. They have appointed your junior as a service chief. If you want to stay and continue your service, you stay and continue your service and complete your year. These are the two options. I am not preferring one over the other. But the point I'm making is that there is a solution to the problem. We document it and we choose any of these two options. However, military traditions also differ. If that thing was saying tradition and culture, we want to make it alone, we may, that's a third option, we may say, look, for Nigerian military, once they appoint your junior, you have to go. But I am telling you here that for now, there is nowhere where that is written.
Okay. So we just need to...
is the harmonized terms and condition of service.
Indeed.
It's not there.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Group Captain Retired. So from what you're saying, in fact, I think you said it somewhere else, that this isn't an issue of the president, as you said.
I'm not hearing very well. Please raise your voice.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me right now? Is it better?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay.
Yes, better.
You've indicated that it's not even about the president, it's more with the military, because as you've just explained, the president technically can choose whoever he wants. Not that he's likely to do it, but if the president wanted, he could have chosen a colonel, for example, you know, theoretically speaking. And
theoretically,
yes.
Theoretically it's possible.
Yes. So
because again, please let me come on here. What other countries did here? You know, the U.S. military, they have probably the longest history of practice. They have made their mistakes. So whether we like it or not, even though I can be challenged with Nigeria, it's not America, you still have to go to the Americans. What the American Congress did, now, saying the president has the right to nominate somebody, they mentioned among serving generals.
Indeed.
They mentioned among serving generals. In our own case, Section 18 of the Constitution, it didn't even specify the rank of who the president can choose. So that's why I say technically or literally, it means the president can opt for a colonel. But of course, that will cause a lot of confusion. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Group Captain Retired, for explaining, you know, the way it works in there and what the constraints are. One thing that just about everybody who has called in on this program, on this issue, was, you know, they're wanting them to get a fair shake. That is, all their entitlements, all their dues, let it be paid to them. And perhaps I was a bit flippant, but I had said that most of us ordinary civilians would take that as a given, that they would get their retirement dues. In fact, there have been some news stories about some quote-unquote fabulous retirement packages for some. Your comments? Well, there's different, you know, I talked about here. Retirement, anybody who retires, especially a military man, even civilians, they enjoy their retirement. Of course, they have their retirement, they have their pension and their benefits. But understand, I spoke about for those whose career was caught, I could say for service exigencies, it is necessary to document that the remaining months or the remaining years they have is computed and they are paid for it, because they have a guarantee in the hedge tackle they are supposed to serve up to a certain text. In all honesty, we are people as people who study military systems, I just played in my mind game. I say, well, supposing one officer now challenges this retirement based on the terms and condition of service, I don't think it will be a vexatious case. He would have a point there. But it's not likely that any officer will do that. So we do that. Retirement benefits, they are entitled to it. I have seen the list of retirement benefits they say people are going to get. Well, I didn't reach that rank. And to be honest with you, I don't know what is involved. But having said that, I always emphasize that for somebody who has served the military for 30 years plus and gotten to the rank of general, you know, putting his life online to protect our citizens, I think there is no amount of money that will give him that will say we have fully compensated him.
Indeed.
They should be given all that the country can afford for the service they have done. However, in return for that, the military, where I said the first is the military ought to produce only officers of that rank that are really necessary, that can be supported by the national economy. So this is where it is a job from two hands, and not only from two hands. The National Assembly is not, innocent in this something, because the National Assemblies in other countries, to be honest with you, it is National Assemblies that specify the terms and conditions of service of military officers, the amount of pay, the condition for promotion. They are the ones who do that. Unfortunately, our own National Assembly, there's this tendency on military matters or defense matters for them to think that, look, it is really not our problem, it's the commander, especially at a time when we had a commander-in-chief who was a former military man. I want this wrong idea to be taken out of the head of the 10th National Assembly. If they think there is wrong, and we think everything is wrong, retiring 133 major generals when they have not reached the age, I think is a loss to the country. We must find a legal solution. We must move away from dismissing it that it is a tradition, it is a culture. I told you I am still within the military. I speak with them. There are many who feel they are shut down by this kind of system. And to be honest, it is not there. Let us look. So I always, whenever I criticize or I critique, let me use the word critique, it is always due to recommendations. For the incoming government, definitely from 2022, which we saw massive retirement, and then this one, we have to agree there is a problem. So the incoming government must look at that harmonized terms and conditions of service.
You mean
specifically?
When you speak about incoming government, there's a government that has just arrived.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Oh, the present government.
Yes, the present government. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Thanks for your correction. The present government should realize, because what this happened, Yori, is likely to happen again.
Because it has happened before.
It has happened before. So it is becoming a recurring decimal. What it means, we must have solution. And like I told you, and I emphasize everywhere, right now we don't have a legal or policy solution to this problem. All what people are saying, I have to be very honest with you, both military and non-military, is personal opinion. Your last guest was saying they should know that their time is over. They appoint their decision. Well, like I said, that ought to be optional. We've had, again, I have emphasized, we have had in the past where seniors have stayed while their juniors are service chiefs. So the solution is not just to say it is tradition. The solution is to go back to that harmonized terms and conditions of service, review it, and particularly decide when an officer, his junior is appointed service chief, what does the system do for him? Should we allow him to serve out his time? Mm-hmm. Should we pay him for his remaining time? Should he be given the option to do whatever he wants? And related to this, finally please, related to this, there's also the issue of the tenure of service chiefs. With due respect, if we keep service chiefs beyond 3 years without changing them, you are going to have traffic hold-up in the general's line. You are going to have traffic. We have refused to legislate or to also put a policy on what is the tenure of service chiefs. We have left it elastic, subject to different interpretations, so much so that I can tell you now, nobody can tell you what is the tenure of a service chief in Nigeria.
All right.
The longer service chiefs stay without change, you are going to have a glut of generals. So again, this is something that we must address.
Indeed.
In my study of other militaries, almost all militaries, they appoint their service chiefs for a particular tenure.
Well,
for a particular tenure. When you raise this issue here, some people will tell you, no, you cannot interfere with the right of the president. No, that is not what democracy says. In that democracy, as we copied it, there's nowhere where the president has unchallenged or unlimited power. Because for just drama, I could say, if President Tinubu wants now, he has appointed the service chief. The way we are looking at, he could serve with them for the 4 years. If by chance he has a second term, another 4 years, he could still serve with them for 4 years, according to the books we have. If another president comes after Tinubu's 8 years, if he likes, he can still return them. This is a possibility with what we have on the book. And you can imagine what will happen if you keep a set of service chiefs for, say, 12 years. But it is a possibility in the system we're operating now.
So, good Captain, thank you very much. This is so explanatory. It really does make it clear. And also you've mopped up some misspeaks, if not outright mistakes, about 3 1,000 generals, that it's not as many as that. But everything you've said is pointing, in my mind, towards the need for reforms, especially around these areas that are sort of quote-unquote gray that you've spoken about. I want to thank you very much, Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, retired, for the enlightenment this morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Loni. But please permit me just one sentence.
Okay.
Almost all these issues, I want to bring it to the attention of the government. Almost all these issues were discussed at a military reform committee that was set up by the last government. Almost all these issues, it was seen. Even as of that 2021, 2022, the list of generals on that list as of that time was taken, and the whole committee members were unanimous that the number was too much.
Okay. Thank you very much. We've got to go now.
There should be more screening. Yes.
Really appreciate you and your time this morning, Group Captain Garba Sadiq Shehu, retired defense and security counter-terrorism expert. So that's our program. We've completely run out of time. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
Join me, Precious Amayo, as I bring you news from the epicenter, where it happens and when it happens.